Well, wavy, what up, bitch boy beans? Chilling out here in one of my gardens. I don't know if you can see that right there, but this marks the official start of wildfire season on the mountain I live on. So I live on a mountain here. It connects, just keeps going down there, and the farther down, about 15 miles away, it's on fire. Yesterday the smoke was crazy, but when I came back out here to get a picture, the wind had blown it away. Today, this is what I see. Just looks like the wind is blowing it onshore. The coast is that direction, so typically the wind's coming this way. Anyway, well, there you go. I'm about to go pick up some trash. Just thought I'd start with a little bit of news. Hey, pick up your trash, or else the world catches on fire. Unrelated, really, other than there's microplastics in all of those dudes' balls that are going to be fighting that fire. And maybe women's ovaries. I don't know if we've tested that yet, but definitely in all them dudes' balls that are fighting that fire, microplastics. Let's go get some microplastics to keep them out of our firefighters' balls. As I walk to the trash spot, and I'm looking at all of these mountains, and just thinking about how many people dream about moving to the mountains. And I'll tell you, when you live in the mountains, you'll love it. The nature is amazing, and the air is fresh, and it's normally quiet, and there normally aren't planes flying over, but there is a plane flying over right now, which I don't know if you can see it right there on my phone. And that's actually just a plane to fight the fires. So I just want to say that if there is one thing you should remember when you are moving to the mountains during this time, will be an increase in wildfires, as there has been. And thinking that I'm moving to the desert seems crazy. Well, I think moving to a place where there is basically an exponential increase in wildfires is even more nuts. And trust me, I think you'll be fine if you live here, and I don't think that the house is going to burn down or anything. We have good enough protection at this point that I think we're okay. I'm not concerned that fire is coming 15 miles my direction. I just think that when you look at the future, as things heat up, sure, where it's cooler right now, it will be cooler in the future, right? As things warm up, where it's cool will be slightly warmer. So moving north seems to be the right move. But, let's not forget that the desert will not have a wildfire. Might burn a couple mesquite bushes here and there, but in reality, there isn't a bunch of trees to burn down there. So as the climate gets crazier, you might find that a logical answer is to move to the desert, where you can build your house out of something that will be resistant to fire, resistant to a lot of things. Not that I'm really concerned about anything about that, to be honest. Not really my concern. Just the idea of having a building that will last forever, basically, versus having your house, which, you've seen a normal wood house. After a while, it just starts rotting away and falling apart. Build your house out of the earth, and, who knows? Maybe people will be visiting your house in the future, like they do the Parthenon or the Colosseum. But it's like Cool Bean's SolarPunk house is still around 1,000 years later because he built it out of dirt. So, hey, I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm going to pick this back up when I hit the trash pile. All right, here we go. Let's get to it. First up today in the plastic harvest. Augie, come here. The dog's already pissed out on me, see? Global warming, you're the best. Global warming, fuck the rest. Ooh, I'm gonna have to bleep that out. Darn it. Anyway, okay, here we go. Back to the talk about the desert versus the forest. Let me let you think about this for a little while. The desert has no wildfires. Sure, there's wildfires in the desert forest, But if you live in a desert, there is no wildfires. As the earth warms up, there will be more wildfires. This is a fact. Guess what else will happen? There will be crazier storms. Guess what that means? If you pick the right desert, you're going to get more moisture, possibly. So while you may live in the wrong desert, not saying that there's a wrong place to live, but if you live in a desert that might not benefit from increased monsoon moisture, think about that. If you are in the right desert, you might receive more moisture. Now, you might receive that moisture in a more chaotic, insane manner. It may be like 20 inches of rain in 1 hour. It's like the great flood is about to happen. But the reality, look at this, plastics. When you really think about it, it used to be a milk jug. And now it's just disintegrating into pieces and hiding in the leaves. You see the problem with that? There's no way I'm going to collect the whole bottle one piece at a time. This is insane. Oh, anyway. The desert. So I picked a spot in the desert that has monsoonal moisture, but it's not close to a coast. So it basically catches like the tail end of the moisture, right? And really, when you think about it, that's kind of what you want. You don't want to be right in the middle of the ish, you know what I mean? You don't want to be right in the middle of the worst weather right along the coasts where the monsoons will pound you. But if you are thinking ahead and you're picking that area where right now the monsoons are sort of like tapering off and you're just catching the very edges, well, I wouldn't mind catching a little bit more monsoon action, to be honest. So an uptick in moisture actually might occur in some locations that would be beneficial only if people are there to take advantage of it. And in service to regenerating the earth, my argument is always going to be that it is more important to regenerate the desert now than it is to stay in the forest and pick up trash. Because like I said, all I'm doing is relocating plastic away from this creek because I really don't want this plastic in the salmon. There's salmon in this creek this river below us is being undammed. So what flows from here and flows down into that river eventually will be absorbed by the salmon. And we just undammed the rivers upstream. So since we're undamming things upstream to increase the salmon, I do not want to increase the microplastics in those salmon. So that is why I'm working on this right now. And the beautifying of my town is still going on, but this is the beautifying of nature and the town and something that everybody in the world will enjoy, which is clean air, clean water, fish that aren't being murdered. Look at all these microplastics. Do you see all of this plastic? It's insanity. Oh, there's no way. Look at how fine this plastic has broken down over time. So if you're trying to have the most effect, I would say your best bet right now is the desert. And it sounds crazy. And yes, it is the harder of the places to go. But I was having this discussion earlier with somebody about how that's really why in the design school we might not have a lot of people who participate in the rehydrating, tech for the rehydration of drylands, because it's really that's kind of like the worst, most degraded landscape you're going to find would be an already wasted desert that's been more wasted. You know what I mean? Remember, deserts aren't completely wasted. Deserts are their own, eco-region. But remember, deserts weren't always deserts. Now, like, a lot of deserts used to be grasslands or other things like that. I know, like, in the Chihuahuan Desert, where I'll be headed, there used to be more forests on the mountains, and it was more of a grassland and a prairie. And so, if that's the way it used to be before things started changing, then, it isn't going to be bad to try to go back to those things to recharge the aquifers and stuff. And what's fun for me to think about too is that, like, there's the potential that you could change the weather, right? So as you are, building out a forest and adding more and more trees and building up moisture holding capacity, you'll be adding humidity to your local area. And as you're adding humidity to your local area, there's the potential that you could influence the weather. Not just of your own little area, but, if you can build a big enough forest, you could even stop the spread of the desert. Where did Augie go? Augie, come! Hold on one second. The dog just went somewhere. Augie, come! Alright, there we go. The helicopters are flying over and he starts tripping out sometimes. Anyway, I better just get back to this. You gotta be a surgeon to pick up this plastic without breaking it into a million pieces, I'm telling you. Here's a nice, anybody need a hubcap? I guess this would be a wheel cover. Like, I've got a whole set of wheel covers here. Anybody wants some sweet, sweet Chevy Cavalier, it appears to be, wheel covers. Get them fake 5 lugs. Looking so sweet. So sweet. Alright. Dog's getting angry again because the heat. Thanks, heat. He's gonna love the desert, huh? That's what I'm thinking. Gotta build him that air-conditioned doghouse. But naturally, Augie, stay here, buddy. Come on. Almost got a full bag, dude. Man, so much of plastic. So much of plastic. We need Augie. Come here. Alright, I'm gonna pick up this trash and get out of here. The dog's freaking out because it's hot and he's miserable. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna get back to this and I'll check back in as I'm on my way home. Okay, we're good to go. Another bag of trash in another bag that's going to be trash. And I did look last night on Amazon for some plastic bags that were, I don't see, the thing is, if you go for biodegradable, what does that even mean? Like, you're gonna biodegrade the plastic into microplastics? I guess the idea is we want plant-based bags. I saw a brand called, I believe it was Hippo Bag. I'll put a little thing about it here, a blurb off of it on. I'm not sure which bag to pick. If anyone has a recommendation for what is the best eco-friendly trash bag, and it can be a smaller bag, but it has to be at least like 13 plus gallons, because a normal garbage bag I'm carrying is a 33 gallon, and You know, by golly, I don't want to use triple the amount of bags if I don't have to, but maybe a couple of 13s would be okay. Anyway, so any recommendations would be nice. Otherwise, back to Amazon, looking at random products, doing some Googling, finding out what's the best. Home compostable seems cool. Also, and I did see something about biodegradable using oxy something. I don't even know. They were very specific, mentioning something about like it has to be blah 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 to break down in contact with water and soil. I did see some bags too that if they get wet, you will ruin them. So they really must just melt when they get wet with moisture. Anyway, my concern is that we're just biodegrading plastic, so I'm not really sure how that works. I'm no scientist, but the research will continue. I'm sure I've already posted a couple of little blurbs up as I've been yapping about some of the bags that I've seen on the Zon. So, like I said, if you have any experience with that, please let me know, because I'm tired of using plastic bags to pick up plastic. It's no bueno. Well, I hope you have an amazing day. I hear the helicopters flying. We saw a plane earlier that was dumping retardant on the fire. So, good times all the time. And that's the one thing I will remind you if you do want to move to the woods. Remember, you are moving to a wildfire, and your children will grow up where there is wildfires. Not to mention their children. And who knows what temperature will be at by then. Maybe the whole forest will just be gone, huh? I'm kidding. Like Marie was saying earlier today, she mentioned that, you know, we don't really know what is going to happen in the future. We just think it will be bad. So, yes, global warming seems to be bad, and yes, increased CO2 seems to be bad, but we all know that it takes CO2 to grow plants. It doesn't take oxygen. So, technically, maybe you'll grow more plants with all the increase in CO2. But at the same time, you're melting the glaciers and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a big who knows. It definitely seems like a negative, but I think the best idea is to just approach it with a positive attitude and say, hey, turn that frown upside down and let's do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're humans. If there's one thing that we know, is that we're smarter. We're smarter than this. We can do better. We will adapt and we will overcome. And maybe we'll end up on Mars. But hopefully we're not abandoning Earth for Mars. And Mars is just another hangout spot for me to pick up trash at in the future. Elon, if you're listening, I'll gladly go to Mars and pick up trash before anybody gets there. If you want to send me first, no problem. I'll do it free of charge as long as you send me with enough seeds to grow some stuff. Maybe a cool inflatable house. And, you know, gotta have a sweet Tesla to drive around up there. So, anyway. Alright. Well, that's it. I'm done rambling on. Have an amazing day. Don't work too hard. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.